In a world that is just flooded with news, somehow one voice managed to cut right through all that noise. He completely redefined how a whole generation gets its daily briefing. So today, we're going to dive into the story of Michael Barbaro, the journalist who turned the news from something you just read into something you actually feel.
The voice of a generation. I mean, that is a huge claim, right? But it perfectly captures his impact. When magazines like The New Yorker said this, they weren't just giving him a compliment. No, they were pointing to something much bigger, a fundamental shift in media, a shift that Michael Barbaro was right at the heart of.
So, how in the world did that happen? How does a kid delivering newspapers end up becoming the anchor of America's biggest news podcast? This isn't just about a hit show. It's really a journey from the quiet suburbs of Connecticut to the very center of the national conversation. So let's trace the steps. Okay, so Michael Barbaro's path into journalism, it didn't start in some fancy lecture hall at Yale. Nope. It started way, way earlier, kind of woven into the fabric of his childhood. You can just see this clear pattern of ambition building from the very beginning. I mean, think about it. He goes from delivering the news as a little kid to then starting his own underground paper in high school, and then, boom, he's leading one of the most prestigious college newspapers in the entire country at Yale. Every single step was a deliberate move up that journalistic ladder. So after college, Barbaro dives headfirst into the world of traditional print journalism. And long before he ever stepped in front of a microphone, he was building this rock-solid reputation at the highest levels of the industry. Right out of Yale, he lands at the Washington Post, and they basically throw him into the deep end, covering biotechnology. Now, this is a super dense, complicated field, right? It forced him to learn how to take all this technical information and distill it into a clear story, a skill that, as you'll see, became absolutely crucial later on. By 2005, he makes it to the big leagues, the New York Times, and his assignments there show this incredible range. I mean, one day he's investigating the inner workings of a corporate giant like Walmart, and the next he's untangling the messy, complicated politics of New York City Hall. He proved he could handle basically any story they threw at him. But his real breakout moment in print, that came on the national stage. He was covering the absolutely chaotic 2016 US election. And he wasn't just reporting events. His front-page stories were providing essential clarity in a political landscape that felt like it was shifting by the hour. In this is where the story takes its massive turn. At the absolute height of his career in print journalism, Barbaro takes this huge risk. He leaps from the most established medium in news to one that was, let's be honest, still a bit of an experiment: daily podcasting. And you gotta understand, this wasn't some random shot in the dark. The sheer intensity of covering the 2016 election was the catalyst. That led to The Run-Up, a politics podcast that proved, hey, this concept can actually work. And that success gave him and his team the confidence to launch The Daily, which was this truly ambitious idea for a 5-day-a-week deep dive news show. The launch of The Daily was just an immediate phenomenon. But its success wasn't just about the stories they were covering. It was about how they were told, and of course, the very unique voice telling them. The numbers really do speak for themselves. Within its very first year, the show was pulling in over 1 million listeners per day. It was so clear they had tapped into this massive, unmet need for thoughtful, intimate, and human reporting. It's funny, his signature style, full of these deliberate pauses, was so noticeable that his own grandfather would gently tease him about it. It wasn't some kind of broadcast affectation, that unique, kind of halting conversational cadence. That was just him. And he brilliantly turned that personal quirk into a professional superpower. That signature pause wasn't a mistake. It was the whole point. It became this incredible tool that created space in conversations, encouraging guests to give more honest, more thoughtful, more revealing answers. His style didn't just report the story, it actually changed the interview itself. His style became so recognizable that people tried to describe it with words like dulcet and staccato. He got compared to audio legends like Ira Glass. And of course, he got parodied on Saturday Night Live, which is the ultimate sign that you've truly made it in American culture. But underneath all of that was this deep admiration for his authentic and, sometimes vulnerable approach to storytelling. So you take all of this, the incredible success, the one-of-a-kind style, the massive cultural impact, and it all leads to this final transformation. Michael Barbaro, the respected reporter, became Michael Barbaro, the media icon. I mean, the evidence is pretty undeniable. He's getting profiled in major magazines, he's named a media celebrity by Vanity Fair, he wins a prestigious DuPont Columbia Award, which is one of journalism's highest honors. He literally went from being the guy asking the questions to being the one everyone wanted to interview. And so his story really brings us to a fundamental question about our modern world. In an era where we are just drowning in headlines and data, his journey is this incredible testament to the enduring power of a single human voice to bring clarity, to bring context, and maybe most importantly, to bring connection.